Moving countries was literally the best thing to ever happen to me. And if you want to find out why, make sure you watch till the end of the video. Okay, so very briefly, I'm just going to give you the rundown so you know kind of what's been going on in my life. So I was born in Rome, and since my dad was a diplomat, we always had to travel to a new country. And so after Rome, we moved to New York, and after New York, we went to Canada. And my parents loved it there. The economy was thriving at the time. Jobs were easy to obtain, and so they decided to stay. And I eventually grew up there and was raised there for 15 years of my life. Then fast forward a few years and everything starts to go downhill. Around the time when COVID hits, inflation goes up, things become harder to afford, living conditions were so much more expensive, the average rent skyrocketed, and my parents had split up, so we had lost a source of income, making it harder to obviously live life there. However, this was the year where we had our final trip to Italy lined up, and we decided to go anyways, despite all of these things. And we fell in love with the country, the culture, everything. So we come back, we're all just like jokingly saying how we should move to Italy, especially now that all this has happened. It's a sign from the universe that we need to get out of here. But I had a very good job there. I was a plumber in the union, so I had above average benefits and my income was going to be very good for my age. So my mom and sister were like, oh, we can't do that. We can't make you give up your career. It's just going to be something you regret in the future. So we let it run for a little bit. A few months go by, and I don't know, I had a love-hate relationship with my work anyways. The only thing that was really tying me down to it was this person I had met there. He was like a father to me, and I liked spending time with him. So that was the only thing really holding me back from letting go of that job. But eventually I gave my family the okay to move because I was ready to move on and try out this whole Italy thing. And so we did. We ended up moving there. Things were very different from how we expected. And I'm going to tell you this right now for people that don't already know this, like my family and I. Going on vacation somewhere is obviously not the equivalence of what it's going to be like to live there. So keep that in mind, because a lot of our expectations were shattered when we finally moved there. So Italy's economy is terrible. You have a lot of people in their 30s, mid-30s, still living with their parents. The average income here is about 700 euros to 1,500 euros a month. And rent will cost you around that price, unless you're living with dorm mates and stuff. So that was kind of a problem. And we also thought it would be very easy to find a job, considering the fact that we're bilingual and we speak obviously the native language and English, which is like the most important language. But that wasn't the case. Finding a job was hard, and we applied everywhere. No one really got back to us for a few months, and we were just kind of struggling it out. All the cars here are manual, and we're used to automatic. That was also another big change. You just see like all these things just came rushing in, and we're just starting to regret our decision. We're like, should we have done this? Everything was comfortable. Everything was normal in Canada. Maybe we should have just stayed. But as time went on, we started to adapt. We were finally getting jobs. My sister started working at the airport. I was working on something myself online. Granted, I wasn't making any money at the time, but my family believed in me, and I kept at it. I was always staying at home, just working on that. And, eventually my job online ended up doing very well. I was making 150, 200 euros a day through my drop shipping store. And that's amazing considering the average wages here. So we had resolved the problem, but this was already after a few months of living here. But so many things just changed from living here. Like, I'm just talking mindsets were shattered. So, in America, I feel anyways, that you just have a pressure on you to have a good income, to, always look your best. I just feel like everyone's always just kind of judging you. I don't know if that's just me, but like everyone's got the new iPhone, everyone's wearing designer, everyone's trying to stand out. So when we came to Europe, we saw literally no one gave a shit about those things. Here, people literally wear fake designer and they're proud of it. Like, they just rep that shit. And people literally have iPhone 6s and Androids and iPhone 5C, I think it's called. And they don't care. They literally don't care. So like, that would just relieve so much pressure off me. And I already just felt more at ease in this country. Everyone's driving really old vehicles. They're completely beat up, dented, and they don't even care to fix them because it's Italy. It's one thing I learned later than I should have. Also, as I was driving here, that was like one of the biggest challenges for me. Because in Canada, I only had driven for about a month or two. And there it's very civil. People respect the rules. They honk at you if you make the slightest mistake. Instead, here in Italy, they don't give a shit. They don't use their blinker lights. They'll cut you off. They'll just like, I don't know how to explain it. Like at a red light, they'll just try to go around you just so they can be ahead of you. And these things are normal. Like, I started to do them too because I'm adapting to living here, and no one honks at you because that's the normal. It's very reactive driving here. It's a very reactive lifestyle. So that also just relieved more pressure off me. I was like, wow, I can literally just do what I want. Obviously, granted, I'm still trying to be responsible, but I'm just letting you know, like, you understand what I'm saying. So that's another belief just broken. My confidence just keeps getting higher and higher. Usually I found people in Canada pretty cold and hard to approach. And they're also really fake. Like, they just say, hey, how are you? And then just walk off, and they didn't actually care. Here, people are so social. I literally, like, I've made so many new connections and friends here, which I had never thought would be like this simple as it is. But it really is that simple. At least here it is. Because people are just more used to it. They're not all on social media. They're not all looking at their phones, sitting in a table on Instagram, being like, hey, did you see this meme? Like, I am so glad I'm away from America. Like, honestly. But that was like the most amazing thing to me. It just shattered so many realities. And then on top of that, we were used to the terrible food. I started eating the food here and I gained weight so easily. I started putting on muscle faster because the food isn't full. It's not completely processed and sprayed down with pesticides and all that garbage like it is in Canada. It's another great thing. Then experiencing all of these things kept boosting my confidence. I started to get more comfortable. I started to realize that here I can kind of do what I want. No one's looking at me. No one gives a shit what I'm doing. So I started approaching more girls. I started literally doing everything I wasn't doing in Canada. I started to do here, and I had success with all of it. I realized so many things that I used to find difficult to do in my life were actually so easy. But the thing is, when you live in a place that just limits your beliefs because of how everyone's acting around you, that's what happens. Like, if you were to bring someone that has known me their whole life in Canada and bring them here and see who I am today, they would be like, this guy's a completely different person. Literally coming here completely changed me. I'm more confident. I am so much more well put together. I have my own business. I actually like traveling now. I like exploring. I like nature. I used to hate all of these things. I can go on endlessly. And the thing is, you would have never known these things if you had just kept being comfortable in your home country. And the worst part in all this is that some of you don't have the privilege of leaving your country, whether it's financial situations or your parents just never want to leave the country, so you don't even get to go on vacation and try out these things. But I was lucky enough to have this experience, and I think everyone should try it out. Especially now that you're young, it's going to help you find out a lot about yourself. And you're also going to have a lot of realities shattered, because you're going to realize that what's normal in one country is not normal in another country. I also like to think that Italy and Canada are like two extremes. Here, everyone likes living and the slow life. And then in Canada, it's so work driven. Everyone's just out to have a career, always trying to get like that new phone, that cool car, and all that stuff. So yeah, coming here has made me realize so much about myself. My anxieties are gone. I'm so calm. Like I said before, meeting people hasn't been an issue. Everything is just the way it should have been. This is the real me. This is literally what I've been holding back. This is my real potential. I always had potential in me to start a business, but guess what? I wouldn't have started a business if I was in Canada, because I had a good job, so it would have never occurred to me. I would have never approached as many females as I did here, because in Canada, I did not think it was like that normal. Here, it's the land of cold approaches. Literally, guys will stop women like that. So I was like, okay, it's okay to do that here. It's normal. So I started to approach women. Literally, people will stop to talk to me at the gym, in the middle of the street, literally anywhere. I have friends ranging between all ages, because everyone here just enjoys socializing and being alive. Everyone likes to live their life, and I do too. It has changed so many beliefs. I always thought I wanted to be a millionaire. Then when I came here, I realized I only liked the idea of being a millionaire, because I just like having an above average income where I can live my life to the fullest without working my ass off. I work 4 hours a day, and I'm making more money than people that work 8 hours a day here. I could make more if I spent more hours on my job, but I don't want to. I use the rest of my free time to explore, try out new things, build up new hobbies, show myself some love, go traveling, which is another big thing. I'm going to be traveling Europe, because that's just one thing I decided I want to do. I'm going to go around and travel all of Europe. And I'm going to start that in the next few months. And I'll obviously put out some content for you guys on that too, because I think it's a journey that I should share with the world. And so yeah, that's basically the video. I just wanted to let you guys know all of these great things that you would have never known had you never seen somebody tell you the experience. If you guys liked this type of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm always doing my best to provide you guys with value, and I really appreciate the support. And as always, be sure to make yourself a priority.